Welcome to another AQA 2012 Comp1 exam monster game Pest. Programming exam solution tutorials to help you prepare. We're going to have a look at how we change the number of traps. We're on the 6th Pest, which is basically looking at all the different ways we can change difficulty, and this is one of them. Looks really simple. All we've got is a constant. We change that value assigned to that constant number of traps. We should be able to change the number of traps. There is a couple of small problems. Before we start, you really do need to understand how items are positioned in the cavern. You don't really need it for this one, but I'm fully expecting that the whole setup game procedure, which loops through and gets random positions, will be questioned about. There is another little sneaky thing, that in the play game and in the training game it doesn't refer to the constant number of traps. It just hard codes the first trap and the second trap. In the training game, that's part of the setup. In the play game, it's when it's checking to see if you are in the same cells, as if you've hit a trap. So the check to see if you've hit a trap and therefore waking up the monster only checks 2 traps, regardless of how many traps you stick into the constant. So we need to loop that. We can only white box test it at the moment, but again, this is feeling pretty likely to be in an exam, and I'd have thought they'd have white box tested it as well. In the next Pest, we're going to add a cheat feature so we can see the traps, but let's not do that now. So let's have a look at the code. So initially, obviously we need to be able to change the number of traps. There's the constant. We can change it to 4, it's not a problem. And now we need to have a little bit look further down to the play game section. So I've just commented out where the current check for the same cell of player position and a trap position, i.e. to wake the monster up. As you can see, trap position 1, trap position 2, not a loop through all the traps. So we need to stick a loop in. I'm going to do a do until, because we don't really want to keep on checking traps if the monster's already awake. So what we're going to do is check until monster's awake, or count equals number of traps. I've initialised count here as being equal to 0. There's actually a variable called count already in this for another loop later down. As long as I initialise it, it's fine to reuse it. And then all we have to do is make sure that we iterate count, so we're going count 1, count 2, count 3, same as we would for a for loop. And the last thing we need to do is just copy and paste in this line that evokes the check if same cell function. So effectively all we're doing now is calling check if same cell, still assigning it to monster wake, but rather than passing it one or the first or second element of the trap positions array, we're going to pass it the count element, which of course will iterate through. And that's as simple as it gets, really. It's not too bad in terms of how we do that. I guess there's a little bit of debate whether I ought to use a do until here or a do while at the top, because if the monster is already awake, then I don't really want this code to run. So I might be tempted just to stick that as a do while rather than do until. But let's test it as it is. In order to test it, I'm just going to stick in a loop, not a loop, a breakpoint here, and run the code and go 1, and then let's go south, and we jump straight to it. Now remember we had 4 traps, so the first thing I'm going to do is just check that 4 trap positions have been added. So let's do a watch, and I don't know what's 2 there, and let's have a quick check. Oh look, 1, 2, 3, 4 have they each got cell references in? They do. So I've definitely had 4 trap positions created, so the cavern has got 4 traps. And now what I'm looking for is it going around this loop 4 times and calling this check if same cell 4 times. So let's go steppity through, step, so make sure that my count is right. Yep, I'm definitely going to check the first element there. So look at the check if same cell, and hopefully it will now go around the loop again. It will. Make sure that's going to evoke the second one. It is. Hopefully it's going to evoke it for a third time. Yeah, and the count's still correct. There's no reason why it wouldn't be. And then finally we're checking the 4th trap. So basically we've gone, is the player over the first trap, is the player over the second trap, is the player over the third trap, is the player over the 4th trap? No. So final check, and hopefully we should exit the loop and the rest of the program will run. Oops. And that is how we add more traps to the cavern. So there are 4 traps there, and I noticed that one of them was at 3-3 when we looked at that. So let's go east, and let's go east again, and let's go south, and we should hit a trap now. Oh no, you have set off a trap. Brilliant. So it was in the right place, and that's the end of us because we've been eaten by the monster, and it's also the end of this pest.